There are 9 distinct levels of wealth, and almost nobody moves through all of them the same way. This is every level of wealth, from negative net worth to generational fortune, in about 10 minutes. At every level, your brain runs a completely different money program, shaped by fear, comfort, or ambition, depending on where you're standing. The habits that get you out of level 1 are the exact habits that will trap you at level 4. Most people assume wealth is just a bigger number, but the psychology attached to that number changes almost entirely every time you move up a level. So stick around, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly which level you're at and what's actually keeping you there. If you're new here, this channel breaks down the psychology behind money. Hit subscribe if that's your thing. Level 1. Survival debt. Level 1 is a negative net worth. More debt than assets, and every decision is made from a place of fear. At this level, money isn't abstract, it's a daily emergency. The psychology here is called scarcity mindset, and it's not a character flaw, it's a documented cognitive effect. Researchers have found that financial scarcity temporarily lowers the same mental bandwidth used for planning and self-control, the same way exhaustion or sleep deprivation does. That's why people at level 1 often make decisions that look irrational from the outside, like taking on more debt to solve a short-term problem. It's the financial equivalent of trying to solve a fire with more fire because there's no mental room left to plan a real fix. The way out isn't a spreadsheet, it's relieving the tunnel vision first so the brain has room to plan again. Level 2, paycheck to paycheck. Level 2 is $0 to $10,000, and this is where most working adults actually live. No debt spiral, but no cushion either. One car repair away from level 1. The defining psychological trait here is what's called the present bias, a strong pull toward immediate comfort over long-term security. At this level, saving feels like punishment because the brain hasn't yet experienced the payoff of delayed gratification. This is why someone at level 2 can know exactly what they should be doing with their money and still not do it. Knowledge isn't the missing piece, trust in the process is. A $500 emergency fund does something a raise can't. It rewires the brain's trust in its own future self. Level 3. Stable but stuck. Level 3 is $10,000 to $100,000. The plateau level, where bills are covered and there's a little breathing room, but growth has stalled. The psychology at level 3 is comfort creep. Once the anxiety of level 1 and level 2 fades, the brain stops treating money as urgent, and spending quietly expands to match income. This is where lifestyle inflation usually begins. Nicer car, nicer apartment, more takeout, all justified as, I earned it. None of those purchases look reckless individually, which is exactly what makes this level so easy to get stuck in for years. People get stuck at level 3 for years, sometimes decades, because it doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like stability. Level 4. Comfortable. Level 4 is $100,000 to $500,000, and this is usually where investing starts to feel real instead of theoretical. The psychological shift at this level is identity-based. People start to see themselves as someone who invests, not just someone trying to survive. But a new fear appears here that didn't exist before. Loss aversion. Behavioral economists have shown that the pain of losing money is felt roughly twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. At level 4, this often shows up as overly conservative investing, sitting in cash, protecting what's been built instead of growing it. Ironically, the very caution that helped someone survive levels 1 and 2 is what quietly holds them back here. The irony is that playing too safe at this level is often what prevents the jump to level 5. Level 5, financially free. Level 5 is $500,000 to $1 million. The edge of financial independence, where money starts generating meaningful passive income and work becomes optional in theory, even if not yet in practice. The psychology here is complicated because reaching enough doesn't always feel like enough. This is where the hedonic treadmill kicks in. The well-documented pattern where rising income keeps resetting what feels like success, so satisfaction never quite catches up to net worth. People at this level often describe a strange emptiness right when they expected to feel relief. Recognizing that treadmill is the actual unlock at this level, not more money, but redefining what enough means before the number arrives. Level 6, wealthy. Level 6 is $1 million to $10 million, the first level where the word wealthy genuinely applies, and social dynamics start to shift in strange ways. Friends and family relationships often change here, sometimes subtly, sometimes not, and that creates a psychological phenomenon worth naming: wealth isolation. Studies on high net worth individuals have found that many begin to hide their financial status from friends and even family, afraid it will change how people treat them. This secrecy often starts as self-protection, but can quietly turn into loneliness if it's never addressed. The people who navigate level 6 well are usually the ones who build a small circle of financially transparent relationships early, before the isolation habit sets in. Level 7, rich. Level 7 is $10 million to $100 million, where money management usually shifts from personal decisions to a team, accountants, advisors, sometimes a full family office. The psychological shift here is a loss of direct control, which sounds like a luxury problem, but it's a real adjustment. There's also a documented pattern called the arrival fallacy, the belief that reaching a certain milestone will produce lasting happiness, when in practice the emotional high fades within weeks. This is why so many people at this level quietly set a new, bigger number the moment they hit the old one. The healthiest version of this level treats wealth as a tool for freedom of time, not a scoreboard to keep climbing for its own sake. Level 8, ultra-wealthy. Level 8 is $100 million to $1 billion, and at this point, wealth stops being about lifestyle almost entirely. Spending on daily life barely dents net worth at this level. The money is now about legacy, influence, and structures like trusts and foundations. There's also a well-known finding that beyond a certain income point, additional money has a shrinking effect on daily emotional well-being, even though life satisfaction can keep climbing. That distinction matters. Moment-to-moment happiness and overall life satisfaction turn out to be two very different metrics at this level. In plain terms, people at this level often report feeling similarly happy day to day as someone at level 5, just with dramatically more capacity to shape the world around them. Level 9, generational wealth. Level 9 is $1 billion or more, and often the wealth itself has outlived the person who created it. At this level, the central psychological question flips entirely. It's no longer, how do I get more? It's, how do I make sure this doesn't disappear or destroy the people who inherit it? There's a well-known pattern in family wealth research, often summarized as shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. The tendency for family fortunes to dissolve by the 3rd generation without deliberate structures in place. Money at this scale can just as easily fracture a family as it can secure one, depending entirely on how it's handled. The families who beat that pattern almost always share one trait. They teach the psychology of money, not just the mechanics of it, to every generation that follows. So that's every level of wealth. And if you're honest with yourself, you probably know exactly which one you're standing in right now. The number matters less than the mindset attached to it, because the habits that trap people rarely change on their own between levels. Most people don't move up a level by earning more. They move up by finally noticing the pattern that's been running quietly in the background the whole time. If this helped you place yourself on this list, subscribing helps this channel keep making videos like it. If you want to see exactly what's keeping most people stuck at level 3 and level 4, I've got a video breaking that down right here on screen. Go watch that next.